Hello and welcome to the Philippines. This is why I use motorbike taxis. Habals, they're called here. And I use them pretty regularly. I'm not carrying a lot of groceries or other packages. And another issue is there's a lot more tourists in town now, and it's often a little more difficult to find a taxi outside my condo. So it's easier to find a hobble. In this case, I was going from Cebu City. I'm already over. This starts in Mandaue City, and I'll put the other video up some other time. Anyway, over here in Mandaue, it's part of the Tri-Cities. Here in Cebu, you've got Cebu City, you've got Mandaue City, and you've got across on Mactan Island, you have Lapu Lapu. They're often called the Tri-Cities. And anyway, I am headed over to the what they call the second bridge, the four-lane bridge. And I was going over there. There was a big fire in a real poor area. And I was going over there to try to get some video. And grabbed this guy, and he gave me a pretty fare. I think I paid him 250 pesos. In the end, I think he had agreed to 200, or actually I think he said it's up to you, sir. And you'll hear that oftentimes with these guys. It's up to you, sir. And I kind of know what the rates are for taxis and motorbike taxis, Habals. So and I'm pretty fair, you know. If they try to highball me and give me a really high price right off the bat, I'll generally go find somebody else. I'll explain to them, hey, I've been here a long time and I know what the fares are. Anyway, SM or Gaisano Grand Mall, there over here in Mandaue, one of the popular malls. They've got lots of malls and lots of new ones coming online. And anyway, it's you know, there is some risk involved in any vehicle, but generally in Cebu City, traffic goes fairly slowly. So even if you were in an accident in a car, probably wouldn't be too bad as far as your personal safety. Now, if you hit somebody in a motorbike or somebody hits you, that's a completely different story, obviously. So there's some risk involved, and most of these guys are, you know, if you've been in the Philippines, you understand. Most areas there are no rules, or nobody follows any rules anyway. And they drive in oncoming lanes, they swerve in and out of traffic. It's crazy. It is crazy, but most of these guys are, how would you put it? They're relatively safe crazy. Put it that. They're crazy, but relatively safe. I've had guys that travel at higher speeds than what I'm comfortable with, but they've been safe. I could tell that they were really watching the traffic around them and ahead of them. Better than some of the guys that drive slower. And I've been with some slow drivers who I get the feeling that they're not comfortable. They don't do this often with somebody on the back. And you know, having a motorbike myself, I can tell you that, and if you've ever ridden a motorbike, once you have a passenger back there, that bike ride's completely different. And especially if they start moving around on you. There have been a number of times hobble drivers, motorbike taxis, as well as the other day I even had to give directions to a taxi driver. He said that he was familiar with where I wanted to go, but he was going the wrong direction. And I had to ask him, I had to remind him, sir, we're going the wrong direction. Well, we need to go back the other direction. And he ended up stopping and putting his Waze map on. And even then, I had to correct Waze because it wanted to take him. Apparently, it tries to get you around traffic, but I had to direct him into Ayala Mall. He said, "No, I don't want to go. I don't want to go around that construction area. Turn left here, take me over here to drop me off, and you'll probably pick up a passenger immediately, which is what happened. So it was good for me and good for him. So these driving apps, I mean, they're good. They serve a purpose, obviously, but not always giving you the best solutions. One other thing I found, I was a little leery because I watched the videos, read the books. I was a little bit leery of people taking you down narrow roads and alleys, and I found out that there are a lot of shortcuts here in Cebu City, probably most places in the Philippines, and it is not uncommon to take those shortcuts to get around traffic. A lot of these guys have some kind of a communication system set up with their phone, some kind of app with other drivers who will tell them, hey, yeah, the shortest way is the busiest way. There's construction, there's traffic, take this other highway instead, road. And a couple times I've asked the driver, we're going to such and such place. They've even asked me on a number of occasions, which way do you want to go? The highway, which isn't really a highway, but they call it the main road going from Cebu City to Mandaue City. They kind of call it the highway, 4-lane road. The highway or the short way. And I just tell them the best, whatever's the best. And 99% of the time they have chosen the better way. And I found that even the longer way, there's a bus, no air con there. Sometimes the longer way is the shorter way, and the fee is less. And talking about buses, see, we're getting by all the congestion. We were backed up here for quite a while for some reason, and most of these guys will use. When they say share the road, they literally mean share the road, and they will leave a little gap on the side or between the lanes, and 2 lanes becomes 3 or 4 lanes. Motorbikes, like he just did, will weave in and out. So if you are driving, you might look in your mirror and not see anything coming, but a half a second later there's somebody up beside you. So just be aware of that and be careful. A few years ago, the Supreme Court here outlawed Habals, motorbike taxis, because they said there is no law authorizing them. And for a couple of weeks, pretty much you couldn't find a motorbike taxi. This was in the middle of the pandemic too, where there was very little public transportation. People were walking long distances trying to get to work and back home again, and really created a major problem. But the very few police, I think, were enforcing that because they've got family that need to eat, and they've got family that make their living driving motorbikes, and they understand people need to work, people need to have transportation to get places. So it didn't take too long, even though that ban was in effect for quite some time. In reality, the motorbikes came back, started working again, and pretty much were not hassled in most areas of the Philippines, I believe. People need to survive. These politicians and such around the world continued to get their paychecks during the economic disasters that they created with their lockdowns, putting hundreds of millions of people into deep poverty, many people losing their businesses and livelihoods. Anyway, I believe there are now 3 registered motorbike taxi services, and they're on a trial basis for almost 2 years, I think. And one is Ancas, one is, that was the first one, then Joyride, and there's another one. I can't think of the name of it right now. Somebody comment and let me know what it is. And I read an article the other day that there's like 4 more, I think 4 more that are registering, want to get in on the program. And my girlfriend, she would use Ancas sometimes she would just grab a Habal. but she's using I think Joyride now, or the third one, and she says yeah they're a lot cheaper than Anka's, and so there's going to be competition. Competition can be good. And we're going to take a right going over towards the bridge here. We just passed on the left past Maio Medical Center. They got a hotel right next door. They're not really a hospital. It would be rare that they keep somebody overnight, but they can do the basic diagnosis and testing if that's what you need. Did a video there many years ago. And in fact, if you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. I've got about 1,300 videos up, a lot having to do with renting, cost of living, traveling, and a lot of information out there. I have had 3 trips to the Philippines. I've gone back to the U.S. once. I've gone over to Vietnam for a couple of weeks, and a little over 8 years total. I've seen a lot of changes, some of the roads, some of the infrastructure. Wilcon there is a big multi-store building supply house, kind of like Home Depot. And anyway, I've seen a lot of changes. We've got a 3rd bridge on the south side of Cebu City. They're planning another bridge on the north side to help with traffic. Gosh, a dozen or more new condominiums up, so a lot more high-rise buildings going up. A lot of changes. And I'm getting off on the last exit before we go up over that bridge. And my purpose was to check out under this bridge what's there. And I did a little bit of video about that. There's amazingly, they got basketball courts, no tennis courts, but badminton courts, volleyball courts, skateboarding area, some kids swimming in the sea, Mactan Channel I think it's called, between Mactan and Cebu. And interesting area. Off to the right they've got a water park. You pay and you go down the water slides and different types of rides and that type of thing.
Water World.
Yeah, Water World it's called. Check it out online. Anyway, and then after this I got up, I walked across the bridge, did a little video over on Mactan Island. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Stay safe. See ya.